Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to adjust your ignition timing on your motorized bicycle, and also I'm going to be showing you what the pros and cons are to advancing your timing or retarding your timing. So the tools that you're going to need to do this process is actually quite simple. I'm going to be using this 3.5mm Allen wrench to remove the magneto cover bolts, and I'm going to be using my impact with a 14mm to remove the magnet, and I'm also going to be using a file to file down the keyway. And let's get started here. So I'm going to remove these, and actually it's a size down. This size, this is the 3.5. I was using the 4. So go ahead and crack that loose. And basically what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be filing down the keyway so that the magnet has more play on it, so that we can retard the timing or advance the timing. Advancing your timing allows the motor to be more snappy at the lower RPMs, but retarding your timing allows you to get a higher top speed and allows it to run smoother throughout the RPM band. So whatever you're looking for, you're going to find out in today's video. So let's remove this. If you guys are wondering why this is so shiny, no, I did not buy these. I actually made these, well, I didn't make them, but I polished these side covers. I took some 220 grit, I sanded the cover down, and then I used some metal polish, and they turned out really nice. And another thing that I want to mention is your magneto gap. I like to go by the statement of using a business card to gap this, but you can use a feeler gauge if you choose. So now I'm going to use my 14mm. It's a quite simple process, like I stated earlier. Make sure it's on reverse, and crack that loose. Okay, so we got the nut out of there. Remove the little lock washer, and this is something to keep in mind. You're going to notice, you probably won't see it on camera, but you'll notice it in person. There's a little like scratch mark from the lock washer. That's the side that you want to put it back on, because if you just throw this back on, what's going to happen is the motor will have spark, but it won't start. So keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and pull this off, and before I want to show you guys how much play there is. Look, see that play? This will retard your ignition timing. This going forward will advance it. So just keep that in mind. The way it's at now, that would be stock timing because the ridge is facing. But if you were to do it the other way, it would obviously move towards that way like that also. So we're going to pull this off. So there's your magnet. Don't lose the keyway that's in there that we're going to be talking about. So we have the little keyway. It's going to be really hard to show on camera. But basically what I did is I took my hand file here and I put it in the vise, and I basically just filed away at that keyway. Now you want to keep in mind that you want to keep the bottom part of it still have enough meat on it, because it's got to go back into there and still be solid. What you want to shave off is the top of it, okay? So like I said, get your hand file, go back and forth, get it nice and smooth, and you want to go about 1mm. So the thickness of this key is 4mm, so you want to take it down to 3 on the top side, and then what you'll do is you'll put it back into the motor, which I'll show here. So basically, I'm going to try to rotate the motor. This has stupid compression, so it's probably not going to turn by hand, nope. So I'm going to move the whole bike, just like that, and we're going to get it back to where we want it. Man, this thing has crazy compression. Right about there, okay? So there's the top of our keyway. Then what you'll do is you want to keep in mind, right, because that ridge, is facing this way. So this is the shave side. So you want to put that side towards the back of the bike if you want to retard the timing, which I recommend. So you'll put that back in. You'll get your magnet. Make sure you see those scratch marks from before. This is the part that most people cut out, but I'm not going to do it, just to let you guys, kind of see a real world experience. This little keyway, once you go ahead and shave it to retard the timing, it always likes to stick to the magnet when you reinstall it. So it's kind of a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. Again, you want to go ahead and shave that. The reason I didn't show the process, because I've already done it on this bike, but and I've done it on the other builds. So let's try and get this first shot. Probably won't happen, but let's just see if it happens. Nope. We got to do that again. So go ahead and try that once more. See if we can get her. But this little mod here, guys, is definitely really good. What I recommend doing is when you add a cylinder head or a carburetor or a pipe or you port the cylinder, always set your timing back to stock. And the reason I say that is because let's say you have a bone stock motor, okay? You advance the timing to make it snappy. You're like, oh, it feels great on the throttle. But then you add a bunch of performance parts. You're basically asking it to blow up because now that motor has so much, advanced in the timing, and you got all these performance parts on, it's going to be really stupid snappy. So A, you're going to hurt the motor, or B, you're probably going to bend up your wheel because it's so snappy, right? So I honestly, guys, when you shave that 1 millimeter, you're going to retard the timing by 2.5 degrees. And that's just enough to get your motor to stay smooth and the power band and higher RPMs, and it's not going to shake itself to death. So, yeah, with that being said, let's see if we can get this back on. This is really hard usually, so I may have to cut it out, but... And guys, we actually got it. We don't have to cut it out. So, what I recommend is I recommend getting a pair of plumbing pliers or something to hold the magnet like that when you retard the timing. And then that way, when you get your 14 millimeter and snug it down, it's not going to clock that way and you're going to be back to stock and you're going to say, oh, the bike doesn't run different. That's because the impact force will force this to rotate back clockwise. So just keep that in mind when you're reassembling the magnet. But let's go ahead and thread that on. I'll catch you guys back when I get a pair of pliers. Alright guys, so I got my pair of pliers here. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to hold it out of the way so I can still get the impact on. But you want to clock it towards the front of the bike all the way. And then get your impact. And some guys can use thread locker. I just don't because I adjust my timing a lot. And you'll snug it down just like that. Judging by my experiences with my friend's bike, don't over tighten this nut. You'll have a very bad day. Like I said, you can use red thread locker. The only problem with red is if you don't plan on doing this again, it's great. But when I'm always modifying my engine, I want to have it so this actually removes. So just by doing those two little ugga-duggas there, that's going to stay pretty good. Then what you'll do is you'll get your magneto cover and you reinstall it. And then that's pretty much it. There's not really too much to the timing advancement, or sorry, the timing, I guess you could say retarding it, but it's a pretty simple mod, and I recommend doing it if you are trying to squeeze out all the power from your stock kit. And I did make a video on that, so check it out. It's called, I think it's called like Top 5 Performance Upgrades for Free or something like that. That's a really good little video I made back in the day, and definitely check it out, because if you want to get, in a nutshell here, if you want to get the most power out of your stock engine, take your piston out. You got to do this when it's all broken in, said and done. Take your piston out, mark where your intake is coming in, right? You'll mark out that spot and you'll cut it, what's covering, and that way more of the gas and air can go down the crankcase quicker and come up, and you'll get more power that way. Doing this little timing mod will help. You can also go ahead and free up your stock exhaust. This obviously isn't stock. You can take the cap right out if you choose to be loud, or you can cut out the internal stinger. You can adjust the needle settings in the stock carb. I mean, you can do a lot to a stock engine, and you can balance the crank. That's also free. More experience required, but it's also free. So you can get a lot of performance. You can go from running, let's say, 25 miles an hour from a stock engine to maybe 32 or 33. You can really up the performance just by doing those few things, and you'll definitely notice it, when you're riding the bike. But that's my little video basically on ignition timing. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely leave a like down below. And it's just a little short video today, guys. We'll definitely be doing some more riding videos with the cool camera. I like to call it the cool camera. Just because it's so neat, that little 360 camera. But I'll catch you guys in the next video, and peace out.